Yanvanaka and good morning, Fiji, and welcome to the Brunch on MaiTV. I'm Jacquee Speight.
And I'm Stanley Simpson. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. We hope you're having a great week so far. I know it's just started. You started with a premiere.
We started with the premiere and it was so good. It went
Yes.
so well. Such an important topic.
Yes,
you know?
I was really proud and impressed with the people who contributed, the people who were interviewed.
Yes.
Great insights.
Absolutely.
A lot of speaking from the heart. I believe Honorable Minister Linda Tamboya, really expressed herself well.
Yes, and even more so in this day and age for a documentary to be done and spoken completely in the Itauke language.
I think that was a beautiful thing. I
Absolutely
think that was
beautiful.
encouraging.
Very encouraging,
and
big
really,
impact.
Really more, we need to do more of that. The great
Yes.
collaboration between Nine Islands Media and Inoke and Lai
Yes.
in Fiji was quite inspiring to watch. The cinematography was really awesome.
Wasn't that beautiful?
That was really beautiful.
Yep.
And we'll be discussing more on the algorithm of change. We'll be joined by some of the producers and people involved in putting the show together in the second segment. But Jacquee, today is May 19th.
It is.
You know, it's an event you and I have some connections to.
We do. We really do. Yes.
Your family was in the spotlight, and
Yes.
I was then an activist. Though I also reported on some of the events that time. So, 26 on, a lot of lessons learned. We did have another coup in 2006.
We did, yes.
But it's important. We really need to do a special show on it at some stage.
I hope one day we
I
all
want to
get
put
to
together.
sit down.
I know you can get some really.
We
Some of the
can.
people are intimate, were really heavily involved, or the
Yes.
principal actors involved in
And that
in
would
it.
be a treat to watch.
That'll
I
be
think that'll be
something.
really something to watch.
Some of the lessons I've learned from the last 26. We just hope we don't have to go through any of that again.
That is so
kind of
true, Stanley.
uncertainty,
Yep.
the tension,
The tension.
everything
yes.
that came through it. We were 26 ago. There's quite a different
I
era.
know. Yeah, very much. And look at where we are now.
No, true. We're moving forward. Keep fighting for democracy, people.
Yes.
And yesterday, Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka said that the government may reconsider whether to proceed on as scheduled on the local government elections as part of upcoming budget discussions. So that's great. Not great. That's an interesting development.
That is an interesting development, and social media, just was like wildfire
Yeah.
everywhere. It was almost that people said they expected it. They
I-
knew it was coming. Like,
For me, I was so looking forward.
I was super excited. I was telling
This was
everybody.
a campaign promise, and they'll be held to account
Yes.
for this. So we'll see what the decision is. Joining us now is Nilesh Lal of Dialogue Fiji. Nilesh, are you on?
Yes, Stanley. Very good morning to you. And
Nilesh,
Jacquee as well.
Yeah,
good to hear from you.
Nilesh.
Bulavinaka. Good morning.
So you heard the Prime Minister's comments yesterday. A lot of people came up with several different conclusions, analysis, assessment of it. What was your first reaction? What's your reaction now, a night after?
Well, I think it is, of course, highly desirable to hold local government elections and to institute democracy at the local level. But the reality is that I think the government left it too late. And as has been said by Justice Ratuvoli, the chair of the Fiji Electoral Commission, before the Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, it is just not possible for the Fijian Elections Office to be holding multiple electoral processes so quickly. And he was referring to the proposed referendum as well. Now, I really feel for the Fijian Elections Office. I think they have been put in a very unenviable position, especially since they have been planning and working quite earnestly to hold local government elections by September of this year. Now, everything is in a state of limbo given the Prime Minister's statement yesterday to the media. But I mean, if you analyze it objectively, holding our first ever local elections after 20 years, just a few short months before the national elections are due, was never going to be a good idea. Now, the other important element, as the Prime Minister has also alluded to, is the cost of elections. Local government elections would have cost around $20 million to conduct. Now, given the precarious state of government's finances, uh, I don't think it would be feasible for the government to hold multiple elections in one fiscal year. If you look at their reform agenda, they also have the constitutional amendment, which requires a referendum, which is another potentially, the 20-30 million dollar exercise. So,
Here, Nilesh,
whilst
Nilesh, if I may cut in, I mean, the issue here, I believe, the cost is the way it is. I mean, they should know that local government elections does cost money.
Yes.
It's by trying to pile too many things in one year, I think, is the issue here. Don't you agree?
Precisely. As I've said in this at the outset, the main problem is that they just left it too late, and these elections should ideally have taken place in the second year into the parliamentary term, and not 4 months before the general elections are due.
I think they also thought in the constitution could be, they had the numbers to change the
Yeah.
constitution and easily change it.
Yep.
That didn't work out. So I guess some spanners got thrown into the works, but I think they kind of dropped the ball a bit on this one. But let's see how they try and recover the situation now. I saw it mentioned in relation to the budget and kind of figured that it was to do with funding. But, surely they must have been talking to some donor partners about this, because this is such an important, critical component of the country's development and going forward.
It is, and I think apart from the financial element, elections are the biggest, logistical exercise that happen in peacetime for any country, for any democracy, and of course there's a lot of work that needs to happen. Now, the local government elections are being held from scratch, and it is not ideal for the elections office to just have a few short months to register and get a complete local government register of voters done up. So I think all these factors are contributing to it. It is also putting strain on political parties. I think they would also be discovering it. 141 councillors need to be elected. What we've observed in the past, political parties have struggled to have even a full complement of candidates for national elections. So I think they would also be finding it pretty difficult to pull together candidates as well. So there were a number of implications, of course, of holding a local government election so close to national elections. The other element would be if councillors got elected and then some of them decided 5-6 months later to contest national elections, so their positions would then become vacant, and it would necessitate by elections at the local level. So it was not a good idea to
No,
hold
it wasn't. I actually was in
yeah.
South Savu. I was actually in South Savu last
Last week.
and some people are actually going around gathering signatures.
Yeah.
To
To stand for the
stand for the election in the
Yep.
municipal. They need 200.
You pay $200 and you need signatures, but you need like 5 important people from within your community to
8.
write letters of support for you. So it was very easy for anyone to stand in this
stand for
election.
that.
Yeah.
To stand for that.
Yeah, that only apply to independent candidates. You needed
Yeah.
to get
Yes.
endorsements from 8 voters within your ward.
Right.
For the duly registered political parties, all the candidates need to do is get nominated by a duly registered political party. But as you know, registering a political party in Fiji has a very high threshold. So this is
But I mean,
going
I
to
really felt that a lot of independents were going to stand,
Yeah.
stand because a lot of people had been.
People were getting excited. Like there were
About
people
being
in our
part of-
neighborhood who were saying, you should do it, you should do it. And now this has happened. So
Yeah, thank you, Nilesh, for joining us. I mean, Jacquee, and we'll try and follow the issue, and we can get you back on to discuss, how the developments pan out.
Yeah.
There's even talk, some are saying, it's not explicitly, but it's falling out of some of the key party operatives about the possibility of actually having a general election, an early general election as well, and this playing into that. So if you have the money, use it on the main thing first.
Yes.
I mean, that's one one thing we're hearing,
Yeah.
but not confirming yet. So don't start spreading any rumors from me. We're giving Lai.
We have we're joining Ilaike
Ilke
Raboy.
He's in Nandi at the moment for the
senior journalist.
for the Fiji police. Or what's it? The regional policing conference. Is it Lai?
Yeah, we are at the Pacific Transnational Crime Summit, something that was discussed, that was brought to our attention by Pacific Affairs Minister Australia about 2 weeks ago during his visit with the Senator Penny Wong, Foreign Affairs Minister for Australia. So that's happening for the next 3 days, Stanley, here at the Marriott.
Interesting, because I mean Fiji's police has been under the spotlight.
Yes, they have been.
And you know, they're fighting back. They're trying to regain trust.
They really
but a
are.
lot of questions about how they can maybe be more professional, or how they be modernized and built and developed to fight these modern emerging challenges that's coming through. We're lacking a lot of resources. Now they're thinking of the military. They're not thinking, they actually in talks and have signed put together some joint task force with the military to better handle some of the fight against drugs and some of these things. So interesting to see how the regional view about, because we have some regional instruments, the Big Qatar Declaration and some of these things, how effective it is. We're still assessing that. Lai, what have the session started, and what have you heard already?
Just opening statements, Stan. Speaking this morning, rather, was the Minister for Policing, also their co-host, Tony Burke, who's also the Minister responsible for policing for Australia, and Pacific Islands Forum. They've just closed the session now. They've gone into discussions where it's not open to the media yet. But we're hoping to get something more concrete at about 1:30, where we'll have Tony Burke, Australia's minister, together with Naval Rua, Minister for Policing, at about 1:30.
All right. Thank you, Lai, for joining us from
Thanks so
Nandi.
much, Lai. Yeah.
We look forward to some of the reports that will be coming from that
Definitely.
event.
Well, don't go anywhere. After this short break, we'll be talking about the powerful documentary that had its world premiere on MaiTV last night, Algorithm of Shame in the Village Everybody Knows. And we'll be discussing it with Pacific Media Network CEO Don Mann, co-producer and co-director Tuki Laumea, as well as our very own Temesia Tuicaumia. So stay with us for that and more. Welcome back. You're watching The Brunch on MaiTV, and as we mentioned earlier, the documentary Algorithm of Shame in the Village Everybody Knows premiered on MaiTV last night. And joining us now to talk about the film, we have Pacific Media Network CEO Don Mann, co-producer and co-director Tuki Laumea, as well as Temesia Tuicaumia.
Yes, great to have you gentlemen join us this morning. Bula from Fiji.
Bula.
Yeah, so the show, Jacquee, we all know, is funded by the Pacific People, from the Ministry for Pacific Peoples in New Zealand and the Pacific Media Network. I must say this is a really great, Don, great work from you and the team. This is really something that I believe it has had impact and will make bigger impact. I think it's a really great model that you guys have come up with and in the Itoke language.
Yes.
So really great work from you guys. But I'd like to start with Tuki. Having the Minister for Information, Linda Tambuya, on the film, what did you make you decide to use? How important was it to have her in the film? You know, she's had that controversy, and did you think that she was willing to open up when you first approached her?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it, and for your support. So I think having Linda was, the fact that she wanted to join was a testament to her being able to share that story too, because it was quite a personal thing that she went through. But I feel like having the conversation in Italki really made it a lot easier for her to open up, and with Lai, who was who's such a great practitioner and so good at interviewing. And so I think it really kind of set it aside, because she hadn't done much talking about that initially, but also, you know, before we even started, Cleo talked to her and just said, look, we're not treating you as a politician. We're not treating you as as anything other than a victim, because, you know, that's from our perspective, all we saw was somebody who suffered terrible online abuse. And we just felt that it was so important to share that story from that perspective, because, you know, we just thought that might be able to help open up the conversation, open up people's eyes to the types of things that were actually happening in Fiji, and for her to actually be able to show it from her perspective, which I don't think had really been properly shared up until that point.
And Jackie, you know, Tuki, you know, Linda has, you know, Honorable Tambu has tried to express herself,
Yes.
explain, give insight, the struggle, talk, you know,
Yeah.
several posts on social media. And I think it didn't really hit as much as
No.
how it was she expressed herself.
Yeah.
Online. So great work to the team there,
Yes.
Nine Islands Media and the team for basically getting her into that comfort space to be able to speak. Temesia, I'll bring you in now.
You know, we watched Temesia last night. A lot of people describing Fiji's online environment as toxic. You're a social media influencer yourself. You spend a lot of time online. You're also an advocate for digital literacy in schools. It's something that you champion through your own school. How would you describe Fiji's online scene right now?
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me. And I just wanted to say to the two gentlemen that produced this film and put it together and directed it, thank you so much. On behalf of our country, we're so grateful that we have something now that we can share. There's something about personal stories that share more quicker than having a classroom full of children. And to have people sit down and watch this film, it will break a lot of barriers. And also, you know, coming from the space of as an education specialist, someone that's on social media a lot, we're always reacting to issues and we're never proactive about them. And if Jackie just saying how would I say the social media space is right now in Fiji, I think it is as bad as our drug issues in this country. You know, with the current cases with Chone Vakarise, and you know, seeing the issues that came up online, that was alarming to see what was going on in people's mind. And so I just wanted to say again and just reiterate, you know, when we're teaching digital literacy, we're talking about reputation management, digital footprint, being a digital ambassador, understanding the use of passwords. This film covered everything. And so can you imagine just showing this at the cinema? So I'm begging the Demoda family, please show this across our nation and, you know, allow our people to come in and watch, because with one film, we get to educate them on so many areas that social media being on the digital space, the digital world is like. I just want to say again that, you know, we grow up as children, we learn how to eat, we learn how to speak. All our people in our country need to learn how to be that again on online spaces. And so thank you so much.
Okay, there is another point that's emphasized about our culture and tradition,
Yes.
and you know, going back to something. I like this point about it as bad as the drug crisis,
Yeah.
because it is.
It is.
You know,
It really
it's really
is.
going, and you can't stop it. No police. I mean, it's hitting people's homes.
Yeah.
And it's like even a drug, you know, addicted to by a lot of children are addicted to it. It's causing a lot of social disruption.
Yep.
Is
There was
the
a
word.
powerful line. I think it was, is it Stephanie Dunn at Fiji Women's Crisis Center? In the documentary last night, her line really got to me when she said, you know, people describe the Pacific, describe Pacific as the way the world should be.
Yeah, the most caring people,
Yeah,
the
the
most
most
loving
caring people, the most loving. And I was going, oh, I was having a moment, right? And then all of a sudden she just hits you with, but we're not.
Yeah.
You have to go online to see
You
how
can
we
see it.
are, and we are not.
Some of the hate that comes out is
Yes.
really dangerous. And I like the other point that Temesia made. It was comprehensive.
Yes.
I like it. Really touched. I was amazed at the different, because you know, social media, we are touching on one aspect of it, but this film touched a whole range of issues in one, you know,
Captured
in one
everything
show.
so beautifully.
Can we bring in Don from the Pacific Media Network in Auckland? You know, really, as I mentioned earlier, as someone who's been in the industry for years, I mean, I really love this model and this funding, and I think I'm seeing this is coming from the Moana Rail Fund. Can you talk more about it, because I'm thinking this is something we really need to look into much deeper here in the Pacific, if we are to you know, to really bring out some of this kind of content. Don.
Yeah, Bulavanaka, Stanley, Jacquee, Ngami Aroa kia koutou katoa. Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I'm with the Pacific Media Network in Auckland, in New Zealand, and the whole premise for us being involved is about language preservation and the connection of language to identity and culture. And so the fact that algorithm of shame is in Itoke is a deliberate strategy, I guess, and a deliberate outcome on our part. We worked with the Ministry for Pacific Peoples about 3 years ago on a body of work on really doubling down on the use of language, as I said, for maintaining culture and identity, but also trust. And it's interesting, you know, this particular documentary is examining social media and the connection to trust. So what we find and what we do is we broadcast in 11 languages, and we believe that being able to broadcast in a language by people of a community who are part of a community goes a long way to engendering trust. And so that's our part. And we're very privileged to be able to work with Tuki to bring this together in Nine Islands Media and Cleo and the team. But also, I think if we talk about values and cultural values, it's really important for us that the launch was in Fiji. Because it's all very well for us to be in New Zealand talking about Pacific languages, but we also must respect that the right to determine the use of and the place of Itoke belongs in Fiji, not in Manukau or South Auckland. So for us, it was really important for that launch to happen on MaiTV and in Fiji.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, the use of vernacular is very important.
Yeah.
I must say, vernacular shows, Jacquee, if you notice, when you put it on MaiTV, we have a lot more reaction.
We do. We really do. I think we noticed that a few years ago.
A few years ago, we started to notice vernacular shows have impact
yes,
here.
We were putting out, everyday normal English language shows, but for some reason, even though the topics were hitting, we weren't getting the reactions we were expecting. And as soon as we put out the vernacular,
we got an impact there. We got a good reception. And Don, I visited New Zealand, about 20-something years ago when the issue of the language, the loss of the Maori language, a lot of those issues at the fore, and people were talking about, how it was lost and very hard to. But then some programs got instituted, and but the last few years. When we start visiting out there, we see a lot of prominence now in the Maori language. So some progress and real impact has been made when you really invest in language and culture and this kind of storytelling.
Oh, 100%. And you think about the indigenous language here, it's the fastest growing language in the country, and it's really challenging just to find a place to enroll children in school, and the uptake in the language is significant. But this goes right back to the 1970s, 1980s. There was a big political movement here, big self-determination movement on language here. And so for us as Pacific people, I'm Māori, but I'm also Tongan as well. So for the Pacific community, the real digging down into language, reclamation of language, preservation of language, self-determination of language, that followed on from a really unapologetic stance of Indigenous people in Aotearoa to reclaim the language. And so, I just can't underestimate enough what we found through our research. And it's interesting the point you made, Jacquee, about the vernacular and then the uptake. We've found here that that link between trust connection and the use of language is so important, and we see that time and time again in our work.
Before we go to the break, I'll bring Tuki back in because Tuki, you've worked across Pacific storytelling internationally, but this centers on Pacific voices, which is such a beautiful thing for us here in Fiji to see. And the Pacific ways, looking into the Pacific approach, or ways of understanding harm, accountability, and healing. Well, how important was you to bring that perspective into this story?
Yeah, I think no matter what I'm doing, doesn't matter where I am, it matters that we are the centre of our own stories, and Indigenous stories are told by Indigenous people, because there's no other way in which we can have the actual level of understanding and understanding the nuances within a culture if they're not being told by us, for us. And so that's always front and centre of any sort of storytelling that I want to do. So, but in Fiji, having Inoke and Ilaitia as a core part of the editorial team, which was central for us, bringing them on board and making sure that they controlled the cultural nuances, the story, the way that Fijians would want to tell the story and want to hear their own story. And then also, because we are dealing with culture as a central focus of the story itself, it meant that that there was safety within those parameters. And so we examine how in this film how culture actually this can stem from cultural practices, but then also how cultural practices can basically have remedies or have ways to mitigate the issues that we're seeing online. But we have to be of the culture, and we story sovereignty matters. And if you're not of the culture, you don't really have the right to be telling those stories. And so that was why it's so important to front and center have culture, and front and center have Ilaitia and Inoki as a part of that.
Wow. I liked when he said that. Tuki, I really like that line. When our stories are being told by us, for us.
Story sovereignty.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue this discussion right after this short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching The Brunch on MaiTV, and we're continuing discussions on the documentary that premiered last night on MaiTV. Algorithm of Shame in the Village, Everybody Knows.
Taking
Very
the shame
powerful.
beyond the village.
Yep. Temesia, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Temesia,
okay,
Yes, I am.
as an educator, what are you seeing firsthand with regards to the impact online shame bullying and online shame and bullying has for young people in the country and the Pacific?
Just last week, we ran a Blue Light Central program camp with 30 young boys from youth at risk and social economical background challenges, and we talked about digital literacy. And three young boys had to deal with the ordeal of seeing their dad's photos being posted up. From the postmortem images, and then they had to deal with a lot of words that were being spoken to them. And we did an activity where we wrote down things that these young boys were going through on social media and how they should be using social media. And it was alarming, Jacquee and Stanley, just the things that have been spoken over them on a social media platform. And, being young boys from 9-year-olds up to 34, these were adults that were misusing social media and speaking vulgar languages over them. And so I also had to speak to them that Facebook it's English. When swear words in Fijian, or when people swear at you in Fijian, or write negative things about you in Fijian, and you report it, Facebook cannot catch that yet. And so that's something too that Facebook is working on catching up on. So these young boys are they're trying to tackle social media without having any guidance. And so we've had young boys, young girls that have thought about committing suicide. Those that don't want to go back to school because of images of their images that they shared went online and were shared. And so, Jackie, just like a simple word like digital footprint, a lot of children didn't understand that when you put something on social media, it stays there forever. Even though you've deleted it, it stays there forever. And so, just having that conversation with them was enlightening to see that the boys didn't know anything at all about that space. And so, we really, as a country, I really push that the Ministry of Education takes this as a priority, because this isn't just something that affects our online space. This affects our communities, it affects our culture, it affects us holistically.
Let me see. What you talking about the top line area, the top line number area? You had the
Yes,
program done, and
yes.
I've been thinking of that area a lot. The children there, what is
Yes.
being done for them, because
They're going through a lot.
it's been so undertaken, so many years, so many brawls and the fights and everything,
Yes,
and they just got lumped together. And sometimes,
Yeah.
when some things that the adults do, and people are saying throw, attack top line and do this and remove them. I keep thinking of the children
Yeah.
that who are getting caught up
yes,
in all this.
Yeah.
That the police and people like Temesia, thankfully, they need to go in and really do a program so that we can institute positive change from
Yes.
even a place like that. Eh?
That's right.
So that was a great initiative, Temesia. Now, Don, a lot of these shows that when they're shown in Fiji, usually the collaborations are often one-sided. It's either produced by people from overseas, and then they send to Fiji and they tell us, MaiTV show it, or FBC or Fiji TV. I really like this this film,
Yeah.
Algorithm of Change, in the village. Everyone knows that Fijian journalist Ilatia Ravuai, who's now with MaiTV, was previously with Fiji Live, and Inoka Rambono of the Fiji Sun, are equal editorial partners, co-directors and co-producers.
Yeah.
This is I'd like a comment, because this is a very important development, the way Nine Islands Media has operated in making this film.
100%. And, it probably touches on the core of the subject of this film. If you think about, and excuse me, I don't know what it's called in Fiji, but the notion of reciprocity. Here in the Māori world, we call it whanaungatanga or whakawhanaungatanga. On my Tongan family, we call it tauhiwā. And so that whole idea of reciprocity, of obligations, is kind of at the heart of this whole project. It would be absolutely shameful on our part if we rode into town and said, here's a film about social media, and here's what we reckon, and here's what we say, and take it or leave it. I mean, that'd just be ridiculous. And that really is everything at odds with the Pacific way of being. And if I think about the subject of this movie and the use of this film and the use of social media to shame, I think we should be really clear and call it out what we're talking about. Social media is basically the monetization of digital outrage, where our people and us, and even us as media entities, we're the workers, we're the content, and we're creating wealth for Meta. And so I know I touched on two things here, but it's just been really clear what social media is. But I think it's just really important, if we're going to be part of a film that at its heart talks about a Pacific way, in this case, the Fiji way of being, well, we have to act that way too.
Yeah.
Tuki, what conversations do you hope young Pacific people, especially those navigating social media every day, take away from this film?
I want young people, or anybody who's using social media, to just think about what it is that you're posting, really. If they take away anything from it, it's just recognize, hey, that could be my brother, that could be my cousin, that could be me, that's dealing with this. And the reality, and I also want them to know, if anyone is actually going through social media, bullying, online harm, or experiencing that themselves, that, this film shows that you're actually not alone, that it's very common, and that, there are lots of places that you can actually reach out to. Even in the film, the numbers are all there at the end, so you can actually see where you need to reach out to. But I just also want people just to remember, we are of the Pacific. We have foundational core values of respect, and that is what all of our villages, all of our families are built on. And so, we should just be treating people with respect. And that's all, I really want people to do. But I just want people to know that there's help available, that they're not alone, and to think before you post.
So let's get Temesia and one more question. On the role influencers, educators, and content creators have in creating safer online spaces, changing the digital culture in Fiji, the things that Tuki has just mentioned. What do we need to do?
I think as a nation, I think it's important that those that have platforms on social media um, understand that you've lost that right to fall apart on social media. You've lost that right to, oh, sorry, it was a mistake. Once you go into it, understand that that platform needs to be taken care of, and it has a lot of responsibility, and you carry the weight of so many others in our country. And just in terms of, we need a multi-sectoral approach. I know the Ministry of Education is working on a digital literacy program. But there's always issues, Stanley. There's funding that's needed for these programs. There's support that needs to come from everybody, such as the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Education, stakeholders in the private community. Everybody needs to get together. And I just like to say, to every Fijian that's watching right now, please be responsible and use your platform wisely. You have the power to use it for bad or use it for good. And when you see something, say something, and please report it.
Something, say something, and
I'm looking at you.
So Don, Tuki, and Temesia, thank you for joining us on the show.
Great conversation with you guys.
Right.
Honestly, thank you so much for taking the time.
Much appreciated.
Yep.
We're going to go for a short break
MaiTV.
now. When we come back, we'll be joined by the Fiji Development Bank's communications and marketing officers, who will talk about the National SME Awards that they're putting together.
Oh, yes.
So, don't go away. We'll be back after the break.
Welcome back. You're watching the Brunch on MaiTV, and with us in studio now is Fiji Development Bank's Manager Communications, Kinijoji Bakoso, and Marketing Officer, Waisale Usumaki, to talk about their upcoming National Small and Medium Enterprise Awards.
Yeah, well,
Gentlemen,
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of governments over the years in my career in journalism, 30, 20 years, talking about SMEs and how it's important. And, is it working, and why is it important to have a National SME Awards?
Thank you very much. Just to briefly introduce about the Fiji Development Bank before I answer your question. We're a government-owned bank, have been in operation since 1967, which is more than 50 years. We have 11 branches nationwide. We provide sustainable financing to agriculture. So for those who's wanting to purchase agricultural lease land, or those who's wanting to do land development, purchase of farm vehicle, for farm equipment, machineries, tractors, or even for infrastructure support, MSMEs if they're looking for working capital, or if they're wanting to expand their business, even for commercial sectors. Also going into the personal financing in terms of our FDB Choice Home Loan, both secured and unsecured. And we are committed to gender equity and social inclusion,
Sure.
where we ensure that everybody has a fair access through opportunities and are able to thrive in Fiji with respect to the communities and the tradition that we have. The FDB National SME Award is an annual flagship for the bank where we celebrate the outstanding achievements of the SMEs in Fiji. It is a national platform where we recognize the SME and also the winners.
So essentially the success stories.
The success stories that they share, the networking that comes, and the credibility of the business.
How long has this been going for, these awards?
More than, I think, since 2010, if I'm correct.
Right,
more
yeah.
than, yeah.
So it's been there 15 years, a lot of success stories?
Yes, a lot of success stories.
Like, give an example of like one of the winners.
We have this lady. She won the Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year, which is you're supposed to be in business for 1 year or more, and she was doing upscaling business where this type of cushion,
Oh, cushions.
Wow.
and all those kind of materials, plastic materials, where it can be.
So those
added
kind of
value.
things are funded by those SMEs. Those kind of things are funded by the bank.
Yeah.
Because before people used to look at the bank and think only the big,
yes.
big development projects in which there was a lot of bad loans at some stage in the past. But you're saying 15 years now. I think there's been more success. Some would say with the SMEs since you come up.
Yeah, because it showcases the resilience that they have gone through their journey, especially in times when the challenges in the economy during COVID and progressing through COVID till now. So we have had some successful business journey.
And how many awards are there that are up, this year?
So basically, there's 9 categories altogether.
Right.
And so these categories celebrates, resilience in all these businesses. So the 9 categories would be Best Agribusiness. There's Best Agribusiness of the Year. We've got Sustainable SME of the Year, Youth Entrepreneur, Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year, Best Business Person of the Year. We've got Best Maritime SME of the Year as well, and Best Cooperative, and of course the overall winner.
So these are like what some would call in the street the hustlers.
Yes.
Whatever small money they have and they make it work. Like the woman that won the cushion idea.
Yes,
What category was that?
She was the Emerging Entrepreneur of the Year. She's just like those startups. They just completed 1 year, and they're able to.
To apply for that category, your business has to be in operation for at least more than a year.
More than a year.
Yes.
Okay, so so for those in these SMEs, generally, what's the range of funding that the bank? If you got some bank bank information, what's the range usually they can apply for?
So this is actually free if they apply for. This is for FDB customers, non-FDB customers. Their prize money for those who are actually winners. The bank does not make any judgment call. We invite independent judges who come, and they are the ones that independently select the winners. The team just basically provides them with the assessment, with the documentation that's required to support their application.
Yeah, beautiful. I wanted to ask my question, Kinijoji, was like for all of these SMEs, is there a range that they can apply, or they can apply any amount?
Sorry, are you asking for the loan?
For the loan,
The loan. Okay,
So for the loan, it can be any amount, as long as you are able to identify your total project cost. There's a different pre-qualification requirement in terms of equity. So if it's working capital, then there would be like a 20% equity deposit, meaning if it's $10,000, 20% will be $2,000, $8,000 will be your bank loan, which you're going to make a repayment on. If it's a purchase of taxi or minibus, then it'll be around 35% deposit.
Okay, so that kind of criteria. Now, who can apply for these awards and how do they apply?
So to begin with, the National SME Awards is absolutely free. There is no fees attached to that. They can apply through our website. So we've got our online application portal that they can apply. Right. Aside from that, we also open and welcome traditional documents or traditional application, which is hard copy, or they can send us an email. And so we also open to customers who does not have an existing account with us. Non-FDB customers are also welcome to apply. And so businesses that has a turnover assets of around 50,000 to 1.25 million in areas such as agriculture, retail, tourism, and professional services. And yeah, the business must be in operation for at least 2 years. And for emerging business, at least 1 year in operation.
So with all of that, you guys must get a lot of applications that come in.
Absolutely.
What makes, what's a standout application for you? What makes a strong application where amongst the hundreds or the thousands that you receive,
finalists, eh?
okay, you're the one we're going to go with?
So I guess it'll be depending on the award categories. So like if it's agriculture, then for farmers or processors who are involved in, who are committed or who are involved in the food security, depending on the type of crop commodity that they have or livestock. Also the community development impact that they have around their community, the performance of the business in terms of growth, resilience, innovation that they have, or if the business is eco-friendly in terms of operations, along the
Social responsibility.
social responsibility, employment, all those aspects. Even we have cooperative SME of the year. So for the cooperatives out there, we encourage you to apply. We have maritime SME of the year for those SMEs who are on the outer islands or maritime.
I think it's a lot of people doing business, they never really consider or evaluate sometimes the impact that their business is making to the wider social growth, social development. Time has caught up with us, so why should someone apply? Why should it matter? Why is there an SME watching it? Like, what impact will it have for them if they apply and get recognized very quickly?
The National SME Award is a national event where we showcase the journey that they have been provided, the network that they have, their business growth in terms of network, the stakeholders that will come to celebrate the awards together with the runners-up as well, the credibility of their business moving forward as well. It actually opened up the doors. We've seen and we've heard from businesses who have gone through these awards come back and say, hey, the National SME Award, this platform really helped us grow our business. We've had businesses who started off small and then they were able to get into these other markets, or let's say the doors that they were wanting to access. So this is the type of
So the
platform.
recognition helps.
The recognition helps.
Kinijoji, Waisale, thank you for joining us on the
Thank you
Brunch
so much.
show
So
this
much
morning. So it's on 31st of May. The closing date of the
Closing date,
application,
31st
and the
of
awards
May.
itself is on
24th of July.
July.
24th of July. So dates to consider there, people.
Yeah. If
Please,
you
if
haven't applied yet, do so
Do
now.
so.
Get in touch with the team at the Fiji
Put-
Development Bank.
put your application in.
Put your application in before the 31st of May, and who knows,
Yeah.
you could be one of the winners recognized at
And
this
get the
national
recognition,
event.
or just be at the event and
Yes.
rub shoulders with people who who are in the same type of
Yep.
hustling, as they say, as that's happening. That's all we have on the show today. Thank you for joining Jackie and I. Do join us again on Friday.
We'll see you then.